Well, hello there, and welcome to War Thunder. I'm Corny Swiss, and today I'm playing an arcade battle on Poland in my Stuart Marine Corps variant. This was a Stuart I played a lot when I first got onto patch 1.45 because I think it's really good. Oops, took a hit there. That wasn't good. But it's like most Stuarts, it doesn't have a lot of armor, which can be a serious issue when you're running into tanks with guns that can deal with you. But I'm trying to get this tank fixed up and find these guys who are sitting right in front of me. I've come all the way around to the side to attempt to stop them from flanking us, and oop, that guy got me. Oops. Kill him! Use the fire extinguishers, do it! Set him on fire, lol. Rip. Yeah, that's the thing. Honestly, I kind of like arcade battles with low-tier Americans because it just turns into it's basically just race cars flinging themselves around, shooting their guns, firing machine guns. Cool. And he got the good news, it looks like, right after I got knocked out. But the enemy are actually capping both zones, which is a little unfortunate. Oh no, we're capping one, they're capping the other, which is a little unfortunate for us. But spawn right in, and lo and behold, the enemy are directly in front of me. The good news must be delivered at any time, at any place. I'm driving the M2, which has, it says 4 50 cal machine or 4 30 cal machine guns. I think the other two you can control are in the back part of the tank, right there, sticking out the side like little water wings. If only we could flap them and start flying, but I guess that's what planes are for. My horizontal drive got taken out, so I'm having to repair that. And I'm just kind of firing randomly. This is arcade, I'm not worried about ammunition. The machine guns will reload. But once I get my drive back, I can start shooting the enemy tanks again. And this was one of the earlier games I played on 1.45. I basically got home from the cruise and started playing. And this is on that day. I don't remember exactly how many games I was in, but I still was working on rank 1, I believe. But they were just hammering me, and my gunner and all my crew are getting generally fairly wrecked. But at this point, the enemy capped our zone, but we're making an effort to cap their zone, which is good. And we're sort of beating back the push they had along the northern part of the town, partly thanks to the fact that we all spawned here. So we were in the way, and they got flanked, and pretty bad for them. So now we need to move forward, get into the city, and try and defend our zone by push them back to their zone, because we both have forward respawn points now. And I think I remember that it was interesting that I could spawn at a random point or at the forward point. I wanted to spawn at the original spawn point at one point in this replay, but I guess that wasn't an option at the time. So we're just kind of causing mayhem and havoc over here. The M2's turret doesn't turn very fast. That's something I didn't like. Well, to this day I don't like about the M2. And I get hung up on this pole here. What? Why can this concrete pole hold me up? Like, it's telling me to request help. I think the pole should just break. You know, multi-ton machine. I feel like it should just break the pole. But eventually what I'm just decided to do is blow the thing out. And if you get stuck on a pole or a tree or something, just shoot your gun into the tree and get rid of it. It's the best strategy, really. But the enemy have made a very sneaky flank push along the southern part of the city, and I'm sort of in the best position to receive while they run away from me, because they're trying to get into the cap and cap the game out. BT5 seems to be like a little nasty tank. I haven't played it, but it seems to be really nasty, and sometimes difficult to deal with. The BT-7 I really never feared because you just shoot it in the face and it dies. Like, there's no questions about it. If it gets hit in the face, it dies. But anyway, the cap is currently safe. The enemy's not capping it, at least. So, but we need to get over there and start capping it ourselves so that we can have at least a window to respond if the enemy makes a push. And I'm taking hits here from a Panzer II-C. I didn't think Panzer II-Cs could really hurt low-tier American tanks, but Stuarts are not invulnerable to Panzer II-Cs. Let that be known. Been knocked out plenty of times by Panzer II-Cs in my Stuarts. But now we need to motor on over to the cap and start recapping so that the enemy can't just swoop in here and basically Zerg rush to win the game. I was worried though that there's an enemy spawning in a bomber. That could be an issue for me. So I'm trying to keep moving. The reason I'm circling is to keep the engine RPM up, so if I need to quickly move to one side or the other I can. But I determined that the bomber wasn't actually coming for me, so rip. But there will be enemies for coming through the city. I'm trying to shoot at this fighter here, but I haven't really quite mastered the whole. I mean, I got the kill because he crashed and I had hit him maybe once. But now that we own our zone, it's going to be important that we push forward and kind of drive the enemy back to their zone so we can cap it. Because at this point all the pressure is on us and the enemy have kind of their say at what happens. And that's never good. You don't want your enemy dictating what you do. So I'm going to move forward along the southern part of the city, along the lake, because we have an ally up ahead. Realistically, what I should have done, as a team, we should have pushed from the north, because that's where our spawn is and their spawn isn't. However, thinking about it, it is important to attack where they will be, because we need to kill them and push them back. And if we go to the north, they can just sweep under us and get to our spawn, or to our cap. Oh my goodness, good news is being delivered, that's for sure. The M2, the Stuarts, sometimes they surprise you. Their gun doesn't pack a tremendous amount of punch, but sometimes this little gun can really surprise you and cause some serious pain. I'm in a little bit of pain right now. Got set on fire. There we go, got him. I found that if you're shooting into someone's front plate and you shoot them once, just move your aim a little bit, as long as it's not a more difficult shot, because a lot of times, especially with these low-tier American guns, you're going to need to shoot multiple places to knock out a tank unless you get lucky and hit the ammo rack. But this is a little unfortunate for me. My gun is reloading very slowly, and we're taking all kinds of hits, and I'm T-26 knocks me right out, which is unfortunate. T-26 does still have a very dangerous gun, that's for sure. Even though if it's not a particularly dangerous tank, the gun itself is fairly dangerous. So now I'm down to my last tank, a Stuart, 1st Army Division Stuart, which, I mean, is very similar to the Marine Corps Stuart. So I guess there's not much to complain about. All the Stuarts are fairly similar. But now the enemy have gone to the cap, which means we need to rush back and deal with these enemy tanks who have refused to take the good news as of yet, but need to be given the good news to assure our victory in this game. Now, the reason I shot the M2, I believe it is, yeah, M2 first, and set him on fire, and then switched to the other tank, because I kind of decided that he was running away from me and he was on fire. Chances of him dying are higher than a tank I haven't even shot yet. So I turned, shot the other tank, and then proceeded to shoot at the tank I'd set on fire. Because if he's running away from me, the M2 doesn't have a great turret traverse, which means it's going to be difficult for him to swing that turret around and shoot at me. And this was a little unfortunate. I got set on fire, but he got the good news. And oh my god, there's a T-26. Whatever shall I do? I think I'll just shoot it. And this was a part of the game where I was just like, I'm a god! Because I'm showing my ass to the enemy. I'm just turning the turret around, shooting everybody, getting rocketed, don't even care. Just a man among boys right now. We are in a bit of a sticky situation though. It's myself and 2 other players, and I believe we're all down to our last tanks. The enemy has more people than us, and they have the element, well, they're going to be attacking, which means they have all the impetus to plan their attack, whereas we have to defend wherever they come from. I'm not sure if this guy knew where I was, but he certainly does now. Doesn't help that my rate of fire is diminished significantly. But we're just gonna keep spreading the good news. You gotta. There's swarms of the enemy. I can't get through this damn wall. It is funny though with these light tanks how walls and fences are actually serious obstacles that are difficult to get through a lot of times. Oh, he's making a run for it. Get him. Just a hit. What are you doing? I don't know what his strategy was there. He like came out, took a hit, and then went back. It's a little odd. I wouldn't have done that. Maybe he didn't think I was still here. But now there's 2 enemies, which means we need to play this a little more carefully. I'm trying to... Oh, he set me on fire. Plus no killerinos. Oh, that wasn't good. Oh, bombs. So the other guy was bombed out of oblivion, or bombed to oblivion, which is obviously nice. And that guy gets the good news. Pretty good. I don't know how many tanks were harmed in the course of this video, but there were a few, to say the least. The enemy has 2 tanks left, it looks like. 2 players, we have 3. Should be good, right? Well, not exactly. The key thing right now, though, is I need to repair and get to a position where I can support my team, but we do need to cap first. And looking at there, you can see how badly damaged my tank is. There's not much working properly. And a lot of my crew are either wounded or having issues with their lives. Not the best situation to be in. And someone dropped artillery in the spawn, which is interesting. I wonder if the enemy did that, but they're probably too far away at this point. But we need to get over here and secure the cap so we can start being go on the attack ourselves. We have more tanks than they do now. What's unfortunate though is we're all spread out. I'm by myself in the cap. There's another tank who's off to my a little bit to my right, who's gonna be in an interesting spot, and we have another allied tank basically in their cap, which is also happens to be their spawn, and he's gonna get knocked out way over there. Ideally, we would have all stuck together. They would have stayed together in the city. I would have gone to the cap, secured the cap, and then as a group gone forward and engaged each individual enemy tank, knocked them out, and moved on with life. That hasn't happened, obviously. There's 2 tanks on both teams now. It's myself sitting in the cap, or trying to sit in the cap. I'm actually not in the cap yet. And my ally who's off over to the right in the outskirts of the city. The issue we're going to have is that it's going to take me time to get over there. And the enemy are pushing along that northern part. Well, here's one of them right now. Get wrecked! Get some. Oh, he snuck behind the building. Better go get him. And it really isn't helping that my rate of fire is diminished. I'm really going to need to be lucky. Get that shot there. We got something. We got his gunner. I think I'll reload before he gets his gun back. But he'll probably have to reload, so I got the next shot anyway. Knocked him right out. And now my ally is over there being attacked and set on fire by the last enemy tank, as far as I can tell. So I need to rush over there and help him deal with this guy. This is a critical mistake though. I tried to go through this wall. Of course you can't go through this wall. It's a wall. I went through the other one, but I lost too much speed, and now I'm stuck on this side as my teammate is burning over there. I really needed to get to him. I need to get to him quickly so that we could both engage the enemy tank and put him in a world hurt. But my ally has been knocked out now. That's a serious issue. It's 1v1, which is fine. I'm okay with a 1v1 situation. But his tank is likely to be less damaged than mine, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the only action he's faced so far with that tank. And he gets the first shot. I've returned fire, but my shell doesn't do anything. I'm out of fire extinguishers. And we're just gonna rip and pepperoni. Very sad. That's all 3 of my vehicles. I'm out of the game. My teammate's out of the game. And that's gonna be it. I know. Heartbreaker. Very sad. But it was a really, really fun game. I think Phil was sitting next to me at the time, and the entire time I was saying like, fuck! Or like, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. And I wasn't dead. Especially when I had my ass to the enemy and I was just one-shotting tanks left and right. But it was a really fun game. Even though we lost, it would have been great to win. But, you know, sometimes you rip and pepperoni and sometimes you don't. But that's what kind of, I don't know. It's, I guess the cool thing about playing War Thunder Arcade is that you get those games, and you get them more regularly than you do in like Simulator or Realistic, just because the way the game works out, it just happens more in Arcade because it's so much more fast-paced, and you have more information to use when you're, I guess, planning how you're going to deal with threats. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I've been Corny Swiss, and I'll see you next time.